inflation is hitting us all. And the great thing about inflation right now, remember when the prices are inflated, so are your rents. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. So you need to have that persistence. You need to have that resiliency. You need to have that determination, and you're going to get it done by hook or by crook.
Welcome to Leading to Profit. I'm your host, Kevin Bees, and I've dedicated my career to empowering business leaders like you with the leadership skills, performance psychology they need to build thriving businesses. Are you ready for immediately actionable strategies from world-class profit leaders? Let's dive in. This is Leading to Profit. Leading to Profit. Today, I'm very excited by our guest. She has not one, but 2 presidential awards from President Biden in 2024. And she's built an empire in buying, selling, and managing properties, accumulating a property portfolio of over 100 properties and facilitating real estate transactions exceeding $750 million. Janet, I'm so excited to welcome you to the call today.
Thank you. I'm so excited, and I thank God for actually meeting you and having me on this show. So I'm excited, and I just thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes. Hey, look, we were at an event together recently online, over 700 people. I got the privilege of meeting probably 70 or 80 of those personally. And you're one person that stood out amongst that, the whole crowd and group of people, because you're achieving some very amazing things in your life. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How have you come to this position where you're known as the cash flow diva?
Well, it's been a long journey. First of all, it's been 37 years. 844 weeks, 1,931 months in this journey. And I want my readers to know I started in poverty. I started in the Christopher Columbus Projects, Paterson, New Jersey, where drug abuse and violence was the norm, with parents who lived from paycheck to paycheck and never owned anything. So, I mean, I can remember attempting to get my very first car, a 1973 Cougar, and I could not go to my parents to be co-signers for me. I actually had to go to one of my best friends. You see, I've worked ever since I've been 13 years old. I started at Gino Giants, which was the old Kentucky Fried Chicken back in the day. And then at the age of 16, I started with New Jersey Bell, which then became Verizon. And I stayed at Verizon for 35 years, working my way up to middle management. I started as a telephone operator. Number, please. Well, we would actually, if you remember the payphones, and I don't know how old you are, because I'll be 70 in June. So there were the payphones where folks were actually on, well, we would actually cut them off, tell them to put another nickel and dime in. So I started from the bottom, worked my way up to middle management. However, something always bothered me. Why, as African Americans, and not only African Americans, but poor people, were always in the position that they were in. And so I started reading viciously, reading Money magazine, Forbes magazine, Inc. magazine, because I wanted to know if there was a way that I could get out of poverty. And upon reading those things, what I learned, many of it was mindset. A lot of it was belief in yourself. I also suffered low self-esteem because I was born in the 60s, of course. And in the 60s, there was a lot of racism, the civil rights issues, blacks and whites, dark skin and light skin, and all of those things. So I suffered from low self-esteem, which many African Americans do suffer today. But I read the magazines. And not only is it about you reading it, it's about you implementing and putting those things into action. So at 18, remember I said I started at 16, Verizon started, or New Jersey Bell started their first 401k plan, where we would put our money in, and they gave us 33 1/3% match on that. So as a result of that, when they first started, every other year, you had to take your money out of. So with me reading all of those things, what I learned is 90% of the wealth in this country, and not only in this country, came from owning assets, from owning real estate. And even your McDonald's and your Burger Kings and all of those I mean, the money is made in the buildings and the assets that they own. The burgers and all of those things are what's called intangible assets. So I decided that was something that I could do. So we saved. Later on, I got married to my husband. I got married at the age of 26. He was 29. And after the first year of marriage, we decided that we wanted to purchase our own home. And we thought we needed 20% down payment, which pretty much like today, there are homeowner programs that are actually out there. So we only had to put 4% down on our first property, and our closing costs were all paid. And this was a 23-room property with 3 floors. And I want you to hear me. I paid $90,000 for that property in 1987 with 9.5% interest rate. Okay.
Wow.
When people argue about the interest rates today, I tell them if you can afford it, don't even worry about the interest rates, because number one, that's going to be a tax write-off for you. And number two, you got to remember everything is cyclical. So what we did with that one property, there were 7 rooms on the first floor, 7 rooms on the second floor, which we stayed on, 4 rooms on the third floor. So of course I rented the first floor and the third floor, and we still have 5 finished rooms in our basement with an office and a kitchen. Okay. And then so our rent was, the rents took care of the mortgage for us. We refinanced that one property 5 times, taking out cash each and every single time. And then we sold that property in 2005 for $415,000, with making over $200,000. So that same property today, I just did a 2-day class, March 8th and 9th. We looked at that same property today. If I had kept it, it would be worth $750,000 today. Okay. So where else can you go? And you don't have to have a college degree. You don't even have to have a high school degree, but you do have to have the right knowledge, resources, and education, which is what I'm helping to provide throughout my coaching, throughout my mentoring, the sessions that I actually hold, the master classes and the seminars that I actually hold as well.
It's phenomenal. So tell me more about that, because for a lot of people to buy the first property, we hear very frequently it's impossible for younger generations to get on the property, but you were astute enough to not just buy a property for you and your husband to live in, but you actually managed to get one big enough that you could rent it out and get your mortgage paid off. So you were effectively living rent free.
Absolutely. And today you would call that house hacking. So, which is what I'm teaching now, is to actually go and buy your first property, but make it a duplex or a triplex, or even you can write down today, you can buy anywhere between, at least in the United States, anywhere between a 1 and 4 family building, and then have that mortgage with provided by either FHA, which is Federal Housing Authority. With veterans, if you are a veteran, you can get that with 0 down payment, as well as the FDA for homes in rural areas, no money down whatsoever. And you, with those 2 programs, you can do that over and over again. And you can also go the conventional way.
It's pretty phenomenal. And let's fast forward from there, because many people follow this route of, getting their career, buying a house, taking the rest of their years to pay off the house, and then looking to retire. Clearly, you've taken a very different route. How did you go from that first property to managing the portfolio the size that you manage today?
With that first property, remember I told you we thought we had to put 20% down, and we only had to put 4% down. So with the additional monies, we were able to buy 8 additional properties that very same year. Now, granted, I'm also on the executive board of the Baltimore Real Estate Investment Association, and I host a women's meeting on the first Wednesdays of every month. Okay, we didn't have those things. And today in New Jersey, I'm originally from Paterson, New Jersey. I live in Baltimore, Maryland right now. So the rehab properties, the 100 properties are including New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, and Baltimore City and Baltimore County, Maryland. But in answer to your question, how did I get there? As I said, We bought 8 additional properties every single year, and we set goals. We put those goals on paper, which is one of the things that I learned. And so our goal was to buy 2 or 3 or 4 properties per year. Now we moved from New Jersey to Baltimore, Maryland in 2001. And so we said what we were going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing here in Maryland. However, we had not done our due diligence, and that's why it is so very important that in order for you to not make mistakes, you either hire a coach, because somebody that can keep you from losing money, okay? Because what you're really investing in yourself, as opposed to just think, a lot of people just think, well, I have to spend this money for a person, but what you're actually really doing is you're really saving yourself from some of the mistakes that we have made. And what I often say to my students is, let your mistakes be the same mistakes. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to give you the mistakes that I made in hopes that you won't do the exact same thing. So we came to Maryland and we bought triplexes in Maryland. We paid $90,000 back in 2001. Had I done my due diligence, we would have bought the entire block at that point. But in New Jersey, I was getting $2,000 a month in rents. In Maryland, I was only getting $200 a month in rents. So what we were able to do, praise God, is you need to know whether or not those states or the cities that you're investing in, whether or not there are rent prohibit laws. And in New Jersey, the rent laws are they're pro-tenant, and so they're very restrictive. In Baltimore right now, you don't have those type of laws. So what we were able to do, we were able to give those tenants 60 to 90-day notices, and offering them an opportunity to stay, but they couldn't. We wanted to raise the rents, and we raised the rents from $200 to $800 once we rehabbed the properties. So that's the easy thing to do. Maryland is an easy state. As long as you're doing your due diligence and you're following all of your rent laws, then it's really a great state for you to invest in.
So smart to think about it. A lot of people work hard and they try to save their money. Of course, that money is after tax, so it gets even harder to save. We said, hey, don't do that. Take the money that you have and leverage it into property. And what you're saying is a smart thing. I haven't heard this term before, but you're talking about house hacking. I haven't heard it that way before. I did have a client who did house hacking, but I don't think he ever called it that thing. And so you're saying, buy a bigger place, a duplex, a triplex, something that can fit between 1 and 4 families in it. And in theory, if that works out, you can be in a position where you're effectively rent-free, and then the extra money you make, you can go and buy more and do more. If there's anyone listening and they're skeptical about that, they're saying, hey, that won't work for me in the UK, that won't work for me in Australia, there's no way that will work for me in Switzerland. What would you say about that?
Well, and it does work for you, especially in the UK. I don't know about Australia and some of the other areas, but I one of John Asher's mentees, and so we have a couple of people in the UK that I'm actually helping in the UK to buy some properties that way. You may have some different laws that we don't have, but as I say, what you have to do, you have to learn your fair housing laws in whatever country that you're actually investing in. And of course, inflation is hitting us all. And the great thing about inflation right now, remember when the prices are inflated, so are your rents. Your rents are inflated as well. The rents have gone up triple fold for us. And that 1 bedroom, I could never think about getting in a 1 bedroom property, $1,800 here in the US. I mean, two bedrooms are going for $2,000. 3 and 4 bedrooms are going. And my portfolio is broken down to what's called subsidized tenants. In other words, the government may pay 100% of their rent, or 100% or less, depending upon their income. And so 50% of my portfolio is invested in those, and they're called voucher holders. It used to be called Section 8, but it's now called Housing Choice Voucher Program. It's the HUD program, which we have to be very careful with right now, because we don't know what's going to happen under the current administration.
Hey, I love that. Very clear. So buy these properties if you can balance them in your portfolio with stuff the government's, reassuring you and paying for the tenants, then that's great. And you mentioned the idea of, you said refurbish or renovate, some of the properties. How much has that really played into your strategy? Is it important you buy in properties that you can fix up and improve?
Oh, absolutely. Here is my husband and my mantra. We don't give you anything that we can't live in ourselves. So we tease one another. If he kicks me out or I kick him out, we can pick and choose any one of our properties to actually go in and live in. So we've been giving over 20 years. When I initially joined the Baltimore RIA, which is Baltimore Real Estate Investment Association, the guy said to me, well, you don't have to do all that. I've been giving granite countertops for over 20 years. I've been giving laminate vinyl flooring. We don't do carpet because when you bring in carpet, you're talking bed bugs, you're talking about often children have asthma and all kind of respiratory illness. So you want to prevent those. You want to make the properties also what's called lead free, and that depends upon what state you're in. We don't have to worry about the old lead in the cities of Atlanta because most of those properties that we purchased are after 1978. But anything in the old cities in New Jersey and in Baltimore City, we have a lot of old housing stock. And so they have that old lead in there. So you need to be very careful either to remove it or to mitigate it. So yes, it's important because, and as you see, I'm a shopper. I love dressing, and so I love decorating. So I don't even give them the basic vanities. I'm a negotiator. I will go into Home Depots and Lowe's and maybe buy 25 or 30 vanities, but they're really nice vanities that are on sale. So I have garages where I keep vanities, I keep refrigerators, I keep microwaves, and we don't do white appliances. We give the black or the stainless appliances because you can get those and at prices, especially when they're on sale, this for the same amount that you can buy a white appliance. We give them a good product because that way that allows you to get a good tenant. And I've had tenants that have been with me over 20 years. I've been in Maryland for 22 years. And so I've had tenants to be with me that year. And I'll even buy a property for them because what happens, especially under subsidized, sometimes say if they have a 4-bedroom, they've been with me 15 to 20 years, all the children have grown up and they've gone out, they no longer qualify for a 4-bedroom. Section 8 will not kick them off of the program, but what they will do is increase their rent rate because they're no longer eligible for 4-bedroom. So if they want to, it can conceivably double their rate. So if they want to downsize or downgrade, and if there's some good tenants, I will actually buy a house for them, a 2-bedroom house for them.
Want to know exactly where your business is leaking profit? Take my free profit scorecard. It's a quick and simple tool that will help you identify hidden gaps and opportunities to maximize your bottom line in just a few minutes. Visit www.profit.gifts and get your personalized results today. Now, back to the show. Love that. So good. And, a lot of business owners here are listening thinking, hey, I would love to keep my my tenants or my clients, for 20 years. That's where there's real value. There's longevity there. You have a great relationship with them. And clearly you're taking good care of them, so they want to stay around with you. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Now, you had so much success in doing this yourself. You built a significant size portfolio. Clearly you have wealth. Your own needs are taken care of, but you've taken time to do coaching and speaking. So tell us more about your inspiration for that.
I've truly been blessed. Okay. I seek God first. And so for me, I want to love generously. I want to serve generously. I want to give generously. And then I want to live generously. Okay. And so to whom much is given, much is also required. So it's my goal, first of all, I'm right now I'm focusing on women and children, but I have many men that are actually in my program too. Because how many women that that are divorcees that have left everything to the husband to handle the finances and the bills, and come divorce time, they have nothing for themselves. They don't know how to pay a bill. They have no financial literacy as well. And so for me, I want to see those women and those children, because you got to remember, it impacts the entire family, especially the small children. So I'm teaching both women and children not only real estate, but financial literacy, from goal settings to belief setting to starting at a young age. I'm even teaching the 3, 4, and 5 years old that if you start with $10 a month, 15 or $20 a month, save it, and not only just save it, you want to invest it. Invest it over 20, 30, 40 years, you can have $1 million. It's the power of the compound interest. And then you can take that, because remember, there's multiple sources of income that you want to have. So you should have real estate. You should, and what I'm suggesting that they do is everybody get into some sort of AI too, because that's going to be the next trillionaire and millionaire maker. So I want to see women, at least 1 million women and children, take control of their finances, because this has changed not only the trajectory of my life, but the trajectory of my entire family life. And it doesn't matter how old you are. My sister is 62 years old. We moved her from New Jersey. She was able to buy her first home on just a security guard income. And the security company gave her $5,000 towards her income. She retired as a county clerk in New Jersey. She was able to bring that down. And my baby brother, who was in prison for over 7 years, who also, he's in the business with us now. He has about 35 properties himself. So this can be a life changer for us. And my thing is, we shouldn't wait for the government to take care of ourselves. We should be able to take care of one another. And so for me, my goal is, my mission in life, until I pass this life, is to impact this generation and change the next generation with both financial literacy and real estate investing, with cash flow and passive income, so that we can all recreate and change our community.
I love it. It's beautiful. And I'm particularly inspired by the fact that you're helping these younger children, because that was going to be my next question. Well, I was at an event recently. I do a dads and daughters thing. So I get to hang out with my daughters and we're teaching them how to do sports. And the leader of that group asked, the kids, hey, well, what do you want to do when you're older? And my daughter actually, she said, hey, I want to own a hotel and give people who don't have, a place to live, somewhere to live. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And that's exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're teaching. So she's not in the US, but can she watch your programs and your courses online?
And I'm just getting into that. That's why I need you guys, Kane and Leslie and all of you guys, to help me with that. I did work with Steve Harris, so my first online program is probably going to be next month. I went into the studio, I recorded that, and that's going to be learning real estate from A to Z. Now, what sets me apart from just other real estate gurus and coaches, I loan the money for your first property, okay? So I'll give you 100% of the acquisition fee, and I'll give you up to 70 or 80%, 80% of the acquisition fee and 100% of the rehab fee. So right now I'm working with 6 students. I'm working with 2 17-year-olds. And so they're going to get their first properties before they're even 18 years old.
Wow. I love that. And that is very unique. And that's quite impressive that you would do that. You carry a lot of risk doing that?
First of all, because I will only loan you if you become my student.
Yep.
Okay. And so when you become my student, I'm not going to let you go out and buy just any type of property. Okay. Yep. So it'll be something that, God forbid, if I have to foreclose on you, then of course I would want that in my portfolio.
Yeah. Okay. And that's smart on your part, because either you help someone and they follow your instructions and then they have the success, and if they don't have the success, well, you help them and you get to take care of the property instead anyway in your portfolio. Sounds like a very smart move. Well, I'm excited. I guess my request from you is, let's get this online course ASAP, because I want to introduce my daughter to you.
The other thing that I do, Kevin, is I hold quarterly retreats out of the country. As a matter of fact, I've just gotten back from Thailand a couple of days before the earthquake. Okay. Yeah. So, but I take children, teenagers, we take even adults. We'll pay for them going, because I try to make it anywhere between $800 and $1,000, and that includes all inclusive. That includes their airfare, that includes their hotel. So we take them away, and there's some folks that have not been out of the city of Baltimore, and so we've been able to take them on trips. We've been able to take adults on their first cruises, adults on their first Jamaica, Mexico, Costa Rica, or Dominican Republic, because those are 3 or 4 or 5 hours, so that we're not on a 19-hour flight as we were on to Thailand. And so you talked about your daughter owning a hotel. I have a 24-year-old that had never been out of the country in his life. He now has 4 properties, one his own, one I actually sold to him because I wanted to get rid of a partner. And remember, partnerships are like marriage, so you have to do your due diligence just as if you would on a marriage. He now has, he's been everywhere. He's been to Croatia, he's been to Poland. I mean, he's been everywhere, and he now has a hotel in Colombia. So with your daughter wanting to own a hotel, that's absolutely possible.
And in Colombia, you're speaking to me now, a beautiful country, and I'd love to go back there and stay in my daughter's hotel. I'm sold. I'm really sold. Now, you're doing some amazing things, helping people. Tell us about some of your most memorable moments or achievements from your time serving in this field.
As I just said, one of my most memorable moments is what we're doing right now. So I told you in October, we broke ground, or we completed the 74-unit apartment building for grandparents raising their grandchildren. And so, as you know, there's mental health issues. There's a lot of drug abuse issues. There's a lot of homelessness. There's a lot of alcoholism. So in addition to that, what we did is we gave a nonprofit organization. It was a grandparents organization. We gave them about 1,000 square feet free space in that building. We provided them with furniture, computer. We also gave them a grants writer. And we brought in, my nephew is a psychologist, so we brought in some mental health components as well. So the next building that we're currently working on, and I'll be going to New Jersey on Wednesday. It's only 3 hours from Maryland, so we drive there every other week. We're doing veterans homeless, building 70 units for homeless veterans. We're also going to give in Patterson, which is where I'm from. Right now, you have a large Hispanic organization. You have a population. You have a large Bangladesh population as well. So the second building that we're doing, we're going to give a Hispanic organization the exact same thing that we gave the grandparents. That was African American. The third building that we're going to be doing, we're going to give the Bangladesh. We're going to give them the exact same thing. A lot of developers, they go into the town and they rape the town. They don't give anything back. And so that's been our saving grace. And that's been our saving grace all the while. Number one, we're transparent. We're honest. We're servant. I'm a servant. I seek God first, and everything else is added unto me. And so for me, being a servant, remember Zig Ziglar says, give enough people what they want, and you'll absolutely get what you want out of it. And I just don't do it to get back. I do it because it's in my heart to serve.
Beautiful. So beautiful. And I really feel that you get that sense about you. Janet, you've really shared about how you've done amazing things. You shared about how you're helping other people. I wonder about, on the way, have you bumped into any challenges or obstacles? Has there ever been a time where you thought like this isn't going to work and it's all going to go away? Have you had any issues that you had to overcome?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. When we first started, remember, we didn't have the playbook that many people have. Remember, there was no internet back in the 80s. There was no internet. And today in New Jersey, there's no real estate investment association. I think that the only one that they have is actually in South Jersey. So I tell everyone, you got to crawl, you have to walk and run. We're risk takers. So what we did, Kevin, we tried to go into buying a shopping center, okay, in North Carolina, but we had not done our due diligence. So we wind up losing over $200,000 because we really didn't know what we were actually doing, and somebody took advantage of us. We also were attempting to buy a 30-unit building 20 years ago, and we went to a realtor. So my brother was in Atlanta because it was in Atlanta. So what happened was he put up his entire savings, $20,000, just to show good faith, to show that we were actually serious about buying the building. The agent closed shop on us. And so thank God, we were able to, because he put in, so we were able to at least give him $10,000 of that back. But that was truly, truly heartbreaking. But what we learned, you got to remember, you cannot allow that to discourage you or to stop you, because that was an obstacle. But what we did is we learned, there were learning experiences. And so what you do is you take those learning experiences and you don't repeat those mistakes. And so one learning experience was, do your due diligence, get someone who's smarter than you, get yourself a coach or someone who's smarter than you, who's someone who's well-versed in those things before you hop out and try to do those things. The second thing is, for me, when you put your down payment or your earnest money deposit, you want to place that with your own title agency or your own title company, and not with anybody else's. And by law, at least here in the States, you are able to choose your own title company. And so those were the learnings from there. But you don't let that stop you, because if you want it bad enough, you will find a way. So you need to have that persistence. You need to have that resiliency. You need to have that determination, and you're going to get it done by hook or by crook.
Love it. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. And I know whatever you face, you're going to find a way through. Janet, one of the things that we ask on the show, we say the quality of the questions we ask ourselves impacts the quality of the life that we lead. With that being true, what's one question you've asked over the years that's had the biggest positive impact on your life or your results?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest questions was, how can I? And even sometimes even today, I sometimes don't believe in myself, believe it or not. And so that I have mentors such as Jack Canfield, John Ashford, and I want to get to know Kane and Alicia very well themselves. But number one, the one thing I've been told, in addition to having a faith, we are 100% responsible for everything that happens to us in our lives. And so I also say to others, because sometimes I have not listened to my coaches, but we have to listen to them. And remember, they've been through some of the things that we have been through, and we absolutely have to listen to them as well.
We are 100% responsible. So important in every aspect of life that we lead. And I often see when people are having problems, it's because they're not assuming that. They're not assuming they are 100% responsible. It's up to them to take the action. Janet, I know I could talk to you all day on this topic. You're so passionate and you have so much wisdom to share. I wonder if you have any final messages for our listeners today.
I want you to think about it. Anything that you've really wanted in your life, if you truly, truly wanted it, what happened? You absolutely got it. So I want you to believe in yourself, take responsibility for yourself. If it's a new field or new area, find yourself a coach. Ask to take somebody out to lunch or dinner. But I'm going to say to you, I've had people that ask me out to lunch or dinner and then expect me to pay for it. Now, that's totally a no. If you're going to take them out, ask somebody to take them out, please spend $5 or $10 and pay for them, because it absolutely makes a difference in life.
Well, when you come to Australia, I would absolutely love to take you out for dinner, and I'm happy to shout you. That would be my honor to do that. And wherever you're listening, then make sure you ask that question: how can I be 100% responsible, take the action you need to take, but of course, get a coach or a mentor. Now, with that in mind, Janet, if someone's listening and they feel really drawn to you and believe that you can help them, where's the best place for them to come and find you?
www.thecashflowdiva.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn as the Cashflow Diva as well.
Great. Wherever you're listening, click into the show notes. There's a clickable link there to take you through to Janet's website and her social media pages. And yeah, make sure you're asking this question: how can I? Whatever you want to do, ask how can I, and think from a wealth creation point of view, two key things are here in today's episode. Invest in assets and get started as soon as you can in saving, because the compound interest, I think you said, I'd love to know the statistics. I think you said $15 to $20 a month over 40 years, and there'll be $1 million in there as well. So Janet, I really appreciate everything you had to share today. It's been a very valuable episode for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. And I look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for tuning in to Leading to Profit. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. It helps us to reach more leaders like you who are committed to maximizing their positive impact and profitability. Until next time, this is Kevin Lees, and remember, you stop leaking profit when you're engaged in leading to profit.